Hi guys, welcome to the beginning of season 5 of Abuse Recovery Success. I'm so excited to take a little moment to kind of recap season 4 and just chat with you guys on what we've all been through over the last several months and kind of where we're going and where I'd like to see this podcast head. You know, one of the things I like to say most about what we do here is we get to know some really powerful people. We get to know people that have endured some really significant trauma, as well as overcome addiction and other things that peril us in life. And this podcast is really meant to be a safe place for you as a listener to come and hear sometimes your own story being said out of the mouth of someone else. And it's here for you to be able to relate to all of the struggles that are really real when overcoming things like trauma. Maybe you're someone that's currently suffering in a traumatic relationship, an abusive relationship. Maybe you're someone that's recently quit a substance. Maybe you're someone that's just trying to decide whether you have a problem with a substance, or maybe you're just someone living life trying to learn better, healthy coping mechanisms. And that's what I want Abuse Recovery Success to be, a safe place. Season 4, we had a lot of great guests, and we did some really different, interesting things throughout the podcast that I think kept all of our listeners on their toes. But of course, knowing me, I want season 5 to be even better. I want season 5 to be something where we have more guests in person and where you actually get to know a little bit more about my story, my journey. We'll do a little bit of story time with April. And in addition to that, we'll have some more motivating guests to keep you inspired and keep you on this journey. But I don't want to forget that as we go through life, and even though this podcast is such a focus for me, much like you listeners, I'm going through life, and life has a lot that it throws at us. Life has breakups. I've had business issues. I've started new businesses. I've been through heartache, and we have family issues and celebrations. And so while we're doing this podcast, I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that we're here as a community. So many of my listeners reach out to us and they share their journey, their story. They ask us questions, and we want to be there for support. So whenever you're feeling like you're in need, I want you to know that we're here for you and you can always reach out. And this podcast is something that you'll see through season 5. We'll touch on so many different issues, some of them even relatable to what's going on in our current lives in all of the pandemic issues and other things that we faced. But I want to talk a little bit about the name Abuse Recovery Success. You know, part of my childhood was extremely abusive, if not the majority of it. And I lived in darkness for quite a bit of that time. And I think the recovery part really didn't start for me fully until my early 30s, maybe mid 30s, and I had to go through some really, really low times. Recovery isn't this perfect, simple process. Recovery is complicated. It has a lot of layers to it. And as I think many of you listeners know, and if you're just tuning in, relapse can be a part of that story. And relapse isn't just a part of addiction. Relapse can be a part of experiencing those traumas. We can relapse in judgment on picking a poor partner. We can relapse in toxic behaviors, destructive patterns that have nothing to do with a substance. And then we can relapse directly related to a substance. And I want this podcast to be somewhere where you guys are comfortable having a check-in, coming back. And then, of course, we can't forget the part of the name that means so much to me, which is success. Because I don't want you to always be in survival mode. There comes times in our life where we are in survival mode. And quite frankly, if I'm being honest with you, recently, I've experienced some of that. I found myself stuck in that loop of survival mode. And the thing is, I want nothing but success for you. And with success comes thriving and feeling happiness and joy, passion and purpose. And all those things are available to you, no matter where you started, no matter what background you come from, and no matter where you are at in this very moment, your life can change. I have to I have to say, quite frankly, I am the epitome of change. If you would have taken a little peek into my life 3.5 years ago, you wouldn't believe what you saw today and just my daily interactions and accomplishments. I've changed my whole life, and how I did that was one little decision after the other, making different choices, trying something new, never giving up, taking it one day at a time. You too can change the whole trajectory of your life if you stick in there, you hang in, and you look for those better options, those better solutions, those better decisions. And then with that, you need to be forgiving of yourself. Sometimes I say this a lot, you can take 2 steps forward and you can take 1 step back. Sometimes, heck, you might take 3 steps back. But it's important to know that no matter how hard or how far you fall, you can always get back up again. And here at Abuse Recovery Success, we're here to champion you, to be there every step of the way. I'm going to also be honest and say that in my adult life, I have experienced some of the most extreme struggles that I have ever had in the last few weeks. And while there's a lot of good going on in my life, I've had a lot of big challenges that have rocked me to my core. And I have had to stick it in there. And I'm going to be honest, I'm sober, and I thought about you guys. When I ever have moments of feeling weak, distraught, lost, or succumbing to any of my past addictive behaviors, I remember my listeners, and I want to let you know what you are to me. You are bright lights. And I've given this a lot of thought because I listened to some other podcasts, and some of those podcasts have some really cool names for their listeners. And I kept thinking, what is this podcast about? It's about spreading light. It's about finding light within ourselves and on the other side of our own darkness. At the end of the day, we want to shatter stigmas. We want to shine that light for every corner as far as it can reach. So you are going to be called my bright lights. My listeners are my bright lights. And with this name and in this club, we have a purpose. And I am calling each and every one of you bright lights, my listeners, to this challenge. Get out there. Spread some light, because in season 5, we're going to have a lot of fun. And in Abuse Recovery Success, we are going to spread that light. We are going to partner with people out there like Child Crisis Arizona and different organizations. And I want you to get out there in your own life, spread some light within, spread some light to your neighbors. Be strong in the fact that no matter where you come from, no matter how far the journey seems, you have a purpose. And you're going to be okay, and you've got a safe place here at Abuse Recovery Success. Thank you to all my bright lights. I can't wait to share this season with you.